All right, so Apple just dropped the new M5 iPad Pro on October 15th, 2025. And, at first glance, it looks exactly the same. But what's hiding under the hood? Well, that's a whole different story. It's a huge clue about where all of computing is going. So the big question is this finally the Pro device we've all been waiting for? Or is it something else entirely? So let's just get right to it. On the surface, this new iPad Pro is a carbon copy of last year's M4 model. But honestly, that's kind of the point. Apple didn't change the wrapper because the real story, the absolute game changer, is happening deep down in a silicon. Make no mistake, this is not a lazy update. Not at all. It's actually a really clever strategic move. By keeping the design the same, Apple is sending a clear signal that they're pivoting. They're moving the focus away from the device itself and toward the incredibly powerful ecosystem it plugs you into. Think about it for a second. The M5 chip didn't just land in the iPad Pro. It's also the heart of the new MacBook Pro and the updated Vision Pro. See the pattern? Apple isn't just selling you a tablet anymore. What they're really selling is access to this shared AI-powered platform. The chip is the real product here, and this iPad is just one of the doors you can use to get in. Okay, so what is the big deal with this M5 chip anyway? Let's dive into the hardware, because that's where you can really see just how big of a bet Apple is making on the future of artificial intelligence. And this is the question, right? This is what everyone wants to know. When you hear new chip, your brain immediately thinks more speed. But the answer this time around is, well, it's a little more complicated, and honestly, a lot more interesting. This chart right here tells the whole story. For your normal, everyday tasks and for gaming, you're looking at some pretty modest gains, right? Around 15%. It's nice, but it's not going to change your life. But then you look at AI-specific tasks, and bam, a massive 101% leap. We're talking more than double the performance. That's not just an upgrade, that's a complete transformation. So how on earth did Apple pull that off? Well, they completely re-engineered the GPU. Instead of just relying on the separate neural engine, they actually built a dedicated neural accelerator. Think of it like a mini AI brain into each and every one of the 10 graphics cores. This means it can do an unbelievable amount of AI work all at the same time. But here's the thing. Apple didn't just upgrade the engine, they widened the entire highway leading to it. We're talking 30% more memory bandwidth and storage speeds that are literally twice as fast. This lets the M5 feed a fire hose of data to its new AI brains without causing any traffic jams. This entire system is built from the ground up for on-device AI. But, and this is a big but, here's the catch. What good is a race car if the roads haven't been built yet? And that brings us to the central paradox of this new iPad Pro. The hardware is straight out of the future, but the software is still trying to catch up. This quote from an early review just hits the nail on the head. Developers saw the problem right away. Apple has built this incredible machine with so much performance headroom, but the apps that can actually take advantage of it, they just don't exist yet. And this is the core frustration for power users, right? You've got the raw hardware power of a Mac, but you're still stuck with the limitations of iPadOS. Your apps are all sandboxed, which means they're walled off from each other. That's good for security, I guess, but it's a real pain for professional workflows. You still can't get serious developer tools like Xcode, and so many of the pro creative apps are just feature-limited, watered-down versions of what you get on the desktop. Okay, so with all of that in mind, let's get practical. Is this incredibly powerful, future-proof device actually right for you? Let's break it down with some simple, clear recommendations. First up, if you bought last year's M4 iPad Pro, the answer is super simple. Skip this one. The day-to-day experience is pretty much identical, and you're not going to notice those performance gains. Just save your money. However, if you're coming from an M2 iPad Pro or something even older, then yeah, this is a massive upgrade. You get the newer, thinner design, that absolutely stunning tandem OLED display, and the huge performance jump all in one package. For you, this would be a genuinely transformative device. Now, for students, look, this iPad is almost certainly overkill. All this AI power is just not what you need for taking notes and writing essays. Honestly, the iPad Air has more than enough performance for you and is a much, much better value. And what about the competition? Well, if you put it up against its main rival, the Samsung Galaxy Tab S11 Ultra, the differences become really clear. The iPad Pro definitely has the edge in raw power. But Samsung gives you a bigger screen, they include the S Pen in the box, and you get a more PC-like experience with their DeX mode. The choice here really just boils down to which ecosystem you'd rather live in.
So, after all that, what's the final verdict on this incredibly powerful yet kind of constrained device? It all comes down to one thing. It's a bet on tomorrow.
The M5 iPad Pro is a masterpiece of hardware engineering, no doubt about it. But it was built for an AI-powered software world that's only just starting to exist. You could almost think of it less as a product for the work you're doing today and more like a developer kit for the world of tomorrow, a world where you can do things like on-device video generation or real-time 3D rendering. And that really leaves us with the final question, the one you have to answer for yourself. Are you buying a tool for the work you have on your desk right now, or are you buying a ticket to the front row of Apple's AI-powered future? The answer to that question will tell you everything you need to know. Thanks for tuning in.